Hey everybody, this is Steven. Welcome to Simple Tesla Live. Good morning. I'm on my way to work again, so I thought I'd do another video. Couple things that came to mind. I'm going to show a clip from the Tesla Autonomy Days presentations that occurred back in April.
How could it be that Tesla, who has never designed a chip before, would design the best chip in the world?
Some really cool information about full self-driving and the advantages that Tesla has, really just incredible advantages over the competition in terms of their strategy and what they're doing to execute on full self-driving, both the hardware side as well as the software side.
But that is objectively what has occurred. Not best by a small margin, best by a huge margin.
But one of the quotes that just really jumped out at me, Elon made in that presentation was that Tesla has the full hardware capability for all of their vehicles manufactured as of April to be fully autonomous, full self-driving. Now, they aren't today fully self-driving, and when I say fully self-driving, what I'm meaning by that is literally get in the car in your driveway, put in a route, and have the car drive you through city streets, intersections, traffic lights, observing things on the road, whether it be pedestrians, cars, whatever it may be, right, that you encounter as you're driving, having to be able to navigate and drive you from point A to point B is really full autonomous self-driving. And the announcement, was that capability is now being built into every Tesla vehicle as of the hardware 3 or version 3 of the hardware that was being installed in Model 3s in April, and I think the other models were getting it before that.
It's in the cars right now. All Teslas being produced right now have this computer. We switched over from the NVIDIA solution for S and X about a month ago, and we switched over Model 3 about 10 days ago. All cars being produced have all the hardware necessary, compute and otherwise, for full self-driving. I'll say that again. All Tesla cars being produced right now have everything necessary for full self-driving. All you need to do is improve the software.
But the real, I guess, secret advantage, and I say secret because it's not secret, but I don't think it's being talked about enough on the web, is the tremendous advantage that Tesla has over the competition in that they have developed their own computing chipset, their own silicon that goes into their vehicles now for the full self-driving computer. And they went into this in great detail. I'm a geek at heart. I love technology. I work in the information technology industry, and so work with computers and technology every day in just my day job. So seeing what they have developed is really incredible. So they went into some detail about the way the hardware now is functioning in version 3 that they released again and started deploying into Model 3s in April. They have got dual I'm going to call them supercomputers, because really this is they really are like supercomputers for your car.
In terms of performance, we took the narrow camera neural network, which I've been talking about, that has 35 billion operations in it. We ran it on the old hardware in a loop as quick as possible, and we delivered 110 frames per second. We took the same data, the same network, compiled it for hardware for the new FSD computer, and using all 4 accelerators, we can get 2,300 frames per second processed. So a factor of 21.
I think this is perhaps the most significant slide. It's night and day.
I've never worked on a project where the performance increase was more than 3. So this was pretty fun.
And the equipment, the chipset that they developed and is being manufactured by Samsung, but again, completely designed by Tesla, is equipment that allows the vehicle to assess all of the cameras, the radar, the sonar, and other sensors fully encircling the vehicle and be able to process images and act on objects, navigate around objects, navigate through the line markers and the street signs and as well through stoplights, being able to analyze all this information in near real time. And they've got two computers in the car so that they're fully redundant. If any feed, whether it be a video feed or if any data between the two computers isn't in sync, they can do a check and make sure that the driving characteristics of the vehicle are meeting their standards for safety and autonomy. Having this completely redundant system that is fully aware of what's going on around the vehicle. I mean, think of it right now. Right now I'm driving, I'm looking out the front of the vehicle. Naturally I've got periphery vision to the side of me, but naturally periphery vision is never as good as your front vision, right? And even with your front vision, I mean, I think as drivers, we've all experienced times where you might look ahead of another vehicle, but maybe then as soon as you look ahead, you're not really focused on the vehicle right in front of you. And that's a lot of times how front end collisions happen, right? You start looking ahead at other cars, you get lost of what's happening right in front of you. That car slows down and you rear end them. And I've seen that happen on the freeway many times over the course of my driving experience. So imagine now a vehicle, which is what the Tesla fleet is installing, having dual supercomputers in the car that are able to be self-aware of everything that's going on in front, to the sides, to the rear, to the corners, all the way around the car, 360 degrees, be able to assess and determine how the vehicle is positioned and where traffic and other objects are, so as to be able to maneuver around them. And do that again in near real time. The performance improvements they were showing about the chipset is that they previously with the Gen 2.5 version of hardware, which again I think was using chipsets from basically a gaming company. I think it was NVIDIA, but those chipsets were able to assess frames per second of around, I think it was 115, if I remember correctly. And so Tesla went in to develop this computing equipment, this chipset, with the complete exclusive focus of how to make it the most efficient electrically, to draw the least amount of power. Excuse me, man, I got some in my throat. But draw the least amount of power and also be able to be the most powerful. And like I said, the 2.5 hardware version was able to process around, I think it was 115 frames per second. The new version 3 hardware, which started to be installed in April, is capable of processing over 2,000 frames per second. So think of that, going from 100 and around 15 to 2,000 frames per second of real-time video. Let alone they've developed a neural network that analyzes the objects in the video feeds to be able to assess again threats and risks associated with where your car's at and what the right lane and path to take in a set of driving instructions. Just again incredibly sets Tesla apart on a completely different scale. I don't know of any other manufacturer right now that's aggressively pursuing again their own proprietary computing platform necessarily. I think others are certainly pursuing the software aspects of it, and maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe there are some looking at their own sort of developing their own chipsets, but if there are, I haven't seen it. I think most of the manufacturers are relying on other vendors, other providers, whether it be again gaming manufacturers that do make powerful chips for the gaming industry, to then take that chip and modify it to work in a car. That is not custom to the full self-driving solution, whereas Tesla has not only developed the chipsets and the hardware that goes in the car, but then also proprietary neural network, which analyzes the data that comes in on the video feeds, the proprietary self-driving software that analyzes that data that comes out of the neural network and then processes it to determine the best and safest path and route to take. There were a number of quotes that came out of the meeting. I'll put some of them in later videos and we'll talk about them. But just, again, tremendous head start, tremendous technology development on the part of Tesla. The last thought I'll leave you with is to get that plus 2,000 frames per second of analysis, the chipset is able and capable of conducting, I think it's 144 teraflops of operating instructions per second. Think of trillions of instructions per second.
If you compare it to, say, NVIDIA's Drive Xavier solution, a single chip delivers 21 teraops. Our full self-driving computer with 2 chips is 144 teraops.
Is the speed at which these computer chips operate, and again, there's 2 of them in your car. If you have a newer Tesla and that version 3 hardware, you have these chips in your car. Trillions of instructions, 144 trillions of operating instructions per second, or teraops, is what these what these computers perform at. I think the next comparison was the hardware 2.5. I want to say it was like 22 or somewhere in the 20s, if I remember correctly. So it's just incredible computing power.
So to conclude, I think we've created a design that delivers outstanding performance, 144 teraops for neural network processing. It has outstanding power performance. We managed to jam all of that performance into the thermal budget that we had. It enables a fully redundant computing solution. It has a modest cost. And really the important thing is that this FSD computer will enable a new level of safety and autonomy in Tesla's vehicles without impacting their cost or range. Something that I think we're all looking forward to.
Really, again, sets Tesla apart, and just one of the many reasons why I'm excited for the future of autonomous vehicles. And I think Tesla is has a huge advantage, and I really don't think the market really understands this yet. I think people are starting to wake up to it. You certainly see more Teslas being sold, and the Model 3 numbers are just I think really blowing the doors off of expectations as to what other car manufacturers now seeing Tesla take their share, their market share away from them. So it's going to be fun and interesting to watch the competition sort of settle in. And again, we'll talk about other things that I think Tesla also has an advantage of. So thanks for joining me this morning, and we'll talk again soon. Thanks. Bye.